Alright, we are here in Stormworks, and this is going to be a really quick little tutorial just kind of going through the add-on editor and showing how to spawn things in around the map like this helicopter is right now. So the very first thing that you're going to want to do is press exit or escape, and then you're going to go to add-on editor. Confirm. I already had one in, so I'm going to delete this and we're going to start fresh. If you want to save your add-on similar to saving a vehicle, you can give it a name here. We'll just call this one test. We'll come in here, we'll save this as test. And there we go. Now we go into load. We have them all here. This was an old one, so I'll delete that. And we have test right here. Now we can go ahead and press this and load it in. So the very first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to choose location, and we're going to go here to environment mod. You can choose all of your locations here. There's a bunch of different tabs up here. You can go to different locations, but we're just going to go to creative because that's nice and quick and easy. We're already here. If we want to ever change this location and keep all the vehicles and stuff that we already have in, we can just do select location again, and we can change it. But we want to go over here to edit. Now, you also have to keep in mind the add-on editor is really useful because you can add Lua and actually do things like missions and all of that. This is how we did the outdoor collections, that you can actually buy other vehicles. So I'm not going to go into that because I am not a Lua person, but we can go over to examples and you can see a bunch of the different stuff that you can actually do. Yeah, everything in here. It's pretty cool. There's a lot you can do. So we're going to go over here to add-on editor and come back here. Now we're going to go to edit objects. Now we're going to be in the location that we chose. If we zoom in, you can see we've got that little yellow box. That's where our view is centered. We can move it around by holding in the mouse button, center mouse button, and we can scroll around and use WASD as well if we want to move that around. But that was only added in later, so I still use the center mouse button because it's what I'm used to. But let's see, yeah, so we can move around, and this is kind of like our workbench. We cannot edit anything in here. We can only add in vehicles that we already have saved from a workbench prior. So we can go over here and we can do add vehicle, and now we can actually go and choose from our list of vehicles that we already have saved. You can also go to workbench or workshop and choose anything like that. But let's just do the Sikorsky S92 Luxury that Pengu just released. So we can go ahead and place that in. It'll be stuck to our mouse until we left click. Now it is spawned in. So we can actually do this. We can give it a display name. We can choose a bunch of different settings here. You can choose static, which is good for buildings and stuff, because if you actually put it in the ground like this, it will not bug out and go crazy because the main body is solid and part of the world. Which is great. We can also do show on map. That's very useful if you do not know where the island is. For our case, right now we're at creative and I'm already there, so I don't need that. We can do a bunch of different stuff as well. These labels are always right in the way, which is infuriating, but we can normally try and get around that. Now, the one thing to note about static is that does mean that you will not be able to move, so the main body will be stuck, which can be good for photos, but not necessarily if you want to move around at all. So there is a lot more that we can do in here as well. We can add characters. So this again will just be stuck to your mouse. You can tap it. If I can press it, there we go. And you can choose a bunch of different options here. You can make them an NPC, civilian. You can choose their suits, all of that. We'll go ahead and get rid of that. We can add zones. We can add objects. This one's pretty fun. You can add a bunch of different stuff like toxic barrels. And you can scroll through that. There's hundreds there. We can also do fire. That's a pretty cool one. And we actually have to make sure that we tap the box that we want, that one. And we can choose fire size, is lit, is explosive, bunch of cool stuff there. I use that one for some testing and photos sometimes just because I don't want to actually crash. And then that fire isn't as nice and exactly where I want. But yeah, so I use this mostly for photos, and it is very useful for bigger builds as well. If we use, this is how you have to spawn in a lot of the big yachts. So we can actually go ahead and find Pengu's yacht if I'm subscribed to it. It will be called the Loon, yep. So this build is obviously too big for a workbench to spawn in and normally have it fine. So this, we can actually spawn it way the hell out here and way in the water like that. And we don't want it static because it's going to stay still. We want to be able to move. And if we don't know where it is, we can do show on map. And then we can go ahead and spawn it in and press test. That's how you'll spawn it in. And now we just wait because it's a huge yacht. I'll get the weather a little bit nicer. Feels like it's spawning in. Yep, there it is. Way down there. Yep, so there you have it. Now it's spawned in and you can drive it around like regular. So this is equivalent to just spawning it in there. Now the biggest thing to note with this add-on editor while you're in game is that you can only spawn in, or sorry, you can only test one thing at a time, which can be very inconvenient sometimes. So if you want to actually have multiple, like here we'll go to outdoor collection. I don't have it saved. What did I save it as? I don't know what I said. Outdoor collection dealership. So for this one, we have mission locations because we actually have vehicles that we have over here. These are the ones that you'll actually spawn in. So it'll grab the name off of these and then say, I want that to spawn in here. And then we have the actual outdoor collection building, which is right here. So those are two different places. We can only test location for one at a time. So this means that we actually have to go ahead and make a new world and load in those add-ons while you're making all the settings for it, which can be very inconvenient, especially if you're just trying to do a smaller test, but that's what we have to do. But yeah, so I hope this helped show you how you can spawn these things in. But yeah, thanks for watching.